on this week's UBC From Here, helping, learning, and discovering outside the classroom.
I decided to participate in this program because I've wanted to do a volunteer program for many years, but I just hadn't found one that suited my schedule or what I wanted to get out of it.
Opening a dialogue about controversial art.
We have a UBCO public art collection, and so the artwork here has been put up around campus, and some of the work has been controversial, so people want it down, and so this was kind of to spark people thinking critically and engaging with artwork.
And investigating how diverse plant communities affect fungi.
This fungus is really important because it can drive a whole bunch of different ecological processes like plant community structure, plant health. It can give plants resistance to drought as well as disease. It kind of determines what plants will settle in an area and will stay, and it can also affect the actual nutrient composition of plants.
Welcome to this week's edition of UBC From Here. Hi, I'm Rosemary Jean Thompson. Every year, a group of students from the Okanagan head south to Ecuador to participate in a unique program that allows them to volunteer for a worthy cause while immersing themselves in Ecuador's wonderful culture.
The things that I took away from this experience are to live life to the fullest and to live for the moment, as well as to tell the people who impact your life that you appreciate them in your life. We are an organization called Help Learn Discover, or HLD for short. And there's 3 components to the program. The help portion, where we help a rural community in need. The learn portion, where you get to learn about the medical portion to it. So you shadow doctors in a variety of different hospitals, whether private healthcare or public. And the discover portion is the portion where you tour around Ecuador, learn about the biodiversity and the culture. I decided to participate in this program because I've wanted to do a volunteer program for many years, but I just hadn't found one that suited my schedule or what I wanted to get out of it. And I was just looking on the UBC website one day and I came across this website, and everything about it made me attracted to it.
I've always wanted to volunteer, so I thought this was a really good opportunity for me to do that because it was only a week, so it just kind of gave you like a week of volunteering, so it gave you a taste of what volunteering was like. But also, since I am in human kinetics, by going and having the medical component, it gave me an opportunity to experience different fields in the healthcare community, so I could maybe, when I'm done my degree, have a better idea of what I wanted to do after I was done school.
I initially decided to apply to the program because I'm gearing towards the medical field. I really liked the med component as well as the volunteer component, and it turns out in the end it wasn't about any component of the trip, it was about the people that you went with. We built homes for 21 families last summer, and their lives are going to be changed forever. So that was really incredible to be a part of.
I think it was a huge mental challenge to go 5 weeks in a completely different country with completely different ways of living than you're used to.
I brought back many different things, mostly personal feelings towards different things. First of all, my schooling. I am so appreciative of the opportunities I've had, not just with university, but even with high school. The kids in the village in Ecuador, they had to go to school for 2 hours a day because the school wasn't big enough to fit all the ages. My expectation was to come away from the program kind of geared towards the medical field and knowing where I want to go once I graduate. Once I got there, I was really immersed in the culture and the cultural aspect of it and the people you meet and the smiles you see and the colors and the tastes and the smells. So what I got out of it was more so the interaction with the individuals and the culture there, as well as the people that I went with.
If someone's asked me about this trip and whether they should go on it, I would definitely recommend doing it because it was one of the best experiences I've ever had.
I tell them that the amount of things that you do in a month will blow your mind. You're not just there to volunteer, you're not just there to work in a hospital, you're not just there to tour and be a tourist. You're there to incorporate everything that you could possibly want in a vacation into one.
You're there to meet the most incredible people. All the programmers, all they want you to do is have fun and have the most incredible trip of your life. So you really know that you're going to have an amazing trip.
Jonathan Hoban, one of Canada's most controversial artists, recently visited the UBC campus to talk to students about issues surrounding the public display of controversial art.
As much as I want to say why it is I do the things I do, I think truly, if I'm being honest, I just make images I want to see. I just feel a need to produce something that I think is going to be exciting for myself. And I hope that like-minded people, and not just like-minded people, but I hope other people see the merit in what it is I'm doing. But ultimately, I'm just making the images I want to see, and if they become controversial, then that's just what they are. I don't think any good work or any discussion, you're ever going to have a discussion where everyone is in agreement. And I think those are the most fruitful discussions.
We had this idea of bringing in Jonathan Hoban from Ottawa to talk about his work because it has been very controversial, probably one of Canada's most controversial artworks. We have a UBC public art collection, and so the artwork here has been put up around campus, and some of the work has been controversial, so people want it down. And so this was kind of to spark people's thinking critically and engaging with artwork. So we have the opportunity here at UBCO to apply for money so that we can do this. And as a student, this is a wonderful opportunity. I feel like if I was maybe in a bigger school, I wouldn't have the opportunity to apply for money and make this happen. As a student, I'm very grateful and feel blessed to have this opportunity.
I think most of the people who attended were there because they felt it was a discussion that needed to be had. I got the sense that there was not too many people there that felt the opposite towards me about the merits of controversial art, or is something really controversial if it provokes discussion. However, those same people might have just been a little bit shy to speak up. I think it was definitely, I got the sense though that people felt it was an important discussion and that it's something that people have been talking about privately but needed a more public forum where they could actually hear from someone like myself whose work is considered controversial and received an extreme response to it, but still felt the importance to keep making art.
I think we have these opportunities, but as students are so busy with homework and work that we don't have the time to actually do it. As much as we would all like to, it just doesn't happen as often. So I think that having someone come in and talk about this and these discussions that need to be happening on campus to have it actually happen is wonderful. I find that people, if they don't like it right away, if they feel uncomfortable and they look at something, they want to write it off right away without actually thinking about it and thinking about what makes them uncomfortable and why is it making them uncomfortable, and critically engaging with the work. And so I'm hoping that this discourse and bringing people in and talking about it will actually get people to think, and so maybe not write it off so fast, and I'll actually take an extra second or more, hopefully, to critically engage with the work.
Welcome to UBC's Next Big Thing. I'm Rosemary Jean Thompson. With me today is master's student Jennifer Forsyth, and you are a student in biology.
Yes.
What is your research all about?
My research really focuses on ecology, and specifically with plants and soil and how they interact. My master's thesis focuses in on something really specific, and it's a soil fungus called arbuscular mycorrhiza.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. Yes. Difficult for most people to say, for sure. So what it actually is, a fungus that lives in the plant roots of many different types of plants. Over 80% of all the species of plants that live on the earth have this fungus, yeah. And what it actually does is it gives the plants nutrients, specifically nitrogen and phosphorus and other micronutrients like iron and zinc, in exchange for carbon. And this is basically how plants have evolved to live on land. So, yeah.
When you think of fungi, or when I think of fungi, I kind of think of mushrooms and sort of the traditional ones that we use for culinary purposes.
Mushrooms actually are a type of mycorrhizal fungi. They are a ectomycorrhiza, and so they are a different branch, not the branch that I study. The branch that I study doesn't have mushrooms or fruiting bodies. This fungus is really important because it can drive a whole bunch of different ecological processes like plant community structure, plant health. It can give plants resistance to drought as well as disease. It kind of determines what plants will settle in an area and will stay, and it can also affect the actual nutrient composition of plants.
Well, you've been doing this research for how long now?
2.5 years.
Okay, now it's actually opened up quite a bit of opportunity for you. So talk about some of those.
I was very, very fortunate to win a travel grant from the university, and I was able to go to India to present at the International Conference on Mycorrhiza. So this conference meets only every 3 years, and it's the conference on soil ecology and mycorrhizal studies.
So people all around the world are studying this particular type of fungi?
Yeah, so every big lab that studies this type of fungi were there at the conference. It was in New Delhi, and I was able to present my master's research. And I actually won the best graduate student presentation at the conference. So
wow.
That was amazing, especially since I'm just a master's student. There were so many PhD students there, so it was really exciting.
Well, just having that opportunity to meet up with all these people from around the world that are studying the same thing that you're studying.
Yeah, it was really incredible to see all the different types of research that's going on. In particular, looking at research in parts of the world that we don't really get to hear a lot about in North America. Hearing from the students in India who are actually working on this and working to improve food quality and agricultural land in India for, disadvantaged people was really interesting.
So this studying and this research has great impacts all around the world.
Yeah, it does. Even though it's really kind of unknown to the general public, it's very important for a lot of different things. My current research, it has lots of implications in restoration ecology, so restoring and conserving areas by using it as a natural fertilizer. As well, some of my past research branches in mycorrhiza looked at improving nutrient quality in plants. So using mycorrhiza as a fertilizer for crops in the third world with the hopes of increasing zinc, iron, magnesium, calcium, so that people were getting more healthy food. They weren't as malnourished.
So how would that be done? Is it that you find where it's growing and you start mixing it in other soils, or you
it's found in every soil in the world, but there's different species and they're in different proportions. So we're looking at if there is one species or one isolate of a species that provides these effects better than others, because it has been documented, and I also published a paper on this, that different species give different benefits to the plant. So some take more and give less, and others give a lot more and take less from the plant. So we kind of are looking for those ideal species that will give the most benefit to the plant. And so we tested a whole bunch of those species and looked at the increase in iron, zinc, magnesium. We looked at I think 12 or 13 micronutrients.
Wow. Now, what's a little closer to home, what are some of the benefits to this research, and is there an opportunity for that to be applied here locally?
Oh yeah, everywhere. You can, basically right now I'm working with an organic grain company in Armstrong looking at soil remediation using arbuscular mycorrhiza. So they have a problem with soil-borne diseases and things in organic agriculture because they can't spray or use chemicals. So arbuscular mycorrhiza are a really good way to improve soil quality and plant quality close to home. As well, the vineyards use it for inoculation. Almost every sustainable agrisystem uses it.
Well, all the best. You're almost finished your master's?
Yes, I am. Next semester I'll be defending. So
excellent. Well, I wish you all the best on that, and
Great.
Thank you for dropping by here and sharing your research with us.
Great, thank you for having me.
That wraps it up for this week's UBC From Here. For more interesting stories from our campus, visit us at ubco.tv. I'm Rosemary Jean Thompson. Make it a great week.